Hello. I'd first of all like to share something with you. For the first time, one of my videos has got more than 100 views. I've got about 120 odd views on my same-sex marriage video. And I do want to thank you. I do appreciate you watching my video on same-sex marriage. And yeah, because of which some of my other videos are getting a bit of viewership as well. So thank you. Yesterday, I know the Senate has actually approved the same-sex marriage. And I think it's a fantastic news. You know, it's about evolution, it's about moving on with the times. The definition of marriage, what it used to be, has changed. And it's nothing wrong. It's just all we've done is we've just evolved with the times. Which is very important, I believe. Today's session, I want to talk to you something about money and finance and financial independence. Financial independence. And how money is actually a mindset. Some of you may have heard this in the past, that money is actually a mindset, but I have actually understood it in a very big way. Wealth accumulation. Now, when I talk about wealth, money is only a part of being wealthy. I have done a video in the past about the different forms of wealth, what different aspects constitute this thing called wealth. Money is an aspect, health is an aspect, good relationships, family life is an aspect, having fun and adventure is one of the aspects as well, and contribution and influence and legacy and leaving something behind is also an aspect of wealth. Not to mention how important career is. Career. So all this kind of constitutes wealth. However, money being an aspect of this holistic wealth, I do want to talk about some of the things that I did, that I continue to do, which is definitely, most certainly helped me become more financially independent. Now, first of all, I thought that money was something that we get, and the more we get, the better. But over the past few years, I've understood that money is more like, it's not about how much you make, but what you do with the money that you make and how you keep that money. So that's very important. It's not about how much money you make, but it's about what you do with the money that you make and how you keep that money and what you do for that money to grow and how you make it work for you. Yeah. You know, some of the books that I've read in the past is, which I would like to share with you. One of them is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, this is not just about a book on money, even though the title says Think and Grow Rich, but it's more about your psychology about money. It's about the mindset. And every time I've spoken about psychology, I always include philosophy as well in it, because they do go hand in hand. Your philosophy and your psychology about money is very important. And it's very important to understand this concept of money. It's actually a concept. It's actually a concept. And money is a fantastic gauge to let us know how we're doing in our life. It's probably one of the simpler ways of actually measuring how you're doing in your life. I mean, there are exceptions to this rule. We know a lot of people who are actually financially very independent. They're very rich, but that's all they have. That's all they have. And they think they have a lot of money and they've got everything, but they've got either, maybe relationship issues or family issues, health issues, or even, they just accumulate and not actually spend it wisely. They don't have any adventures. They don't explore this thing called life. So, we can read all the books, get an understanding of all this, but it's more important to actually apply all that knowledge. Application. So Think and Grow Rich is a great book. It's not just about money, but it's about how you can create life. It's a fantastic book. It was written, I think, in the 40s or 50s, but it's a great book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. The other book which I would highly recommend for you to read is The Richest Man in Babylon The Richest Man in Babylon. I can't remember the name of the author, but it's a great book. It gives you practical steps of how you can accumulate more wealth and how you can achieve financial independence. Another book that I read some time back, maybe a couple of years ago, was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. That was another fascinating book and gives you a lot of ideas on investments, how to make your money grow. So it's fantastic to read all these books and get all the information, but it's more about the application, but more so about the thinking and your feelings and your emotion when you think about money. But most importantly, it's about being. It's about absorbing all that information and actually being that. And this is something, I can only use words and language and articulate all these ideas and all these thoughts. But it is very important that we take initiative. That intention has to be within ourselves, no matter how much we read and accumulate all this information. It's about how much you're willing to put in that intention, taking that initiative. That is something that is totally up to you. So it's an entire way of being, not looking for shortcuts or quick money making schemes. Although in very, very small percentage, it can work. We've heard of situations where the quick make money schemes have worked. Make money quick schemes have worked. But by and large, it's about the whole psychology and your philosophy about money that is more important for us to understand and actually be it. And that's why I keep talking about, working on yourself. Nothing's more important than working on yourself. As Jim Rohn says, work harder on yourself than you work on your job. Even when you go to your job, it's about working on yourself, which I have advocated in the past, about self-improvement, personal development, understanding this inner game of what we are and what life is all about, just understanding and gathering a big picture understanding of all this. And it's about being open-minded and being courageous. Open-minded and courageous are probably one of the most important state of mind that we have to be in. So you may say, how important is open-mindedness and courage to achieving financial independence? Yes, it is. It actually plays a big part. It's completely changing your understanding and mindset about money, which is something like, what I can think of an example a few years ago, when my wife and I went to buy a bag of rice, a 5-kilo bag of rice. And one was about maybe $12 for a 5-kilo bag. There was another one which was about $17 or $18. There was another bag for about $20 or $23. Whatever it is, there was a variety of rice bags that we saw. And I thought, this bag of rice, this 5-kilo bag of rice for the two of us, or for the three of us, is going to last us a few months. So my thinking was, if it's going to last me for a few months, let's say 3 months, it'll last me for 3 months. So, if it's going to last me for 3 months, how does it matter whether I bought a $12 5-kilo bag or a $25 5-kilo bag? The difference is actually, let's look at 12 and 25, is only $13. $13 over a period of 3 months is just about $4 a month. So what a lot of us do is we go for the cheaper option. Well, that's 25, this is only 12, let's get this. Not realizing for the next 3 months, you're going to settle for something that you've actually not entirely desired. You wanted to buy the $25 rice, but you ended up buying the $12 rice because it would save you $13 at that point in time, which is understandable. But then if you look at that, for the next 3 months, you're going to be unhappy with that bag of rice that you bought, and you're just going to suffer for the next 3 months. So that's why I keep thinking about always buy the best. Always buy the best. You may regret it for that point in time that you spend so much money, but in the long run, you would have definitely made a right choice. In most circumstances. I'm not generalizing anything here. I'm just pointing out some of the thinking that goes within most of us. And that's the same thing I think about when I think about buying a property or renting a property. I believe it's always best to buy or rent in the best area. I just thought of location, 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 which is what the biggest mantra of real estate is. But the idea is, I mean, we all know why it is important to buy property in a good location. And again, when I talk about courage, it is about how much are you spending your money with apprehension, with animosity, with fear, or are you spending your money with joy, with a inquisitive curiosity, with enthusiasm? So it's the way we spend our money. It's the way we look at and understand this whole concept of money psychology. Recently I was having a chat with someone, and they were saying that I don't have enough money and I'm not feeling great, and only if I got some more money I'd be a lot happier. Look, that's actually an issue. We have a problem right there. If getting money is going to make you happier, and if losing money is going to make you sad, there we have a problem. And this is something that I will find very hard to articulate and put into words. And if someone can explain this to me, that would be highly appreciated. Put in a comment, and how do I make you understand that this is, if getting money is going to make you happy and losing money is going to make you sad, we have a problem there. All right, something else that I've been doing, let's say for the last maybe 3 or 4 years, what I've been doing is on the 1st of every month, 1st or 2nd of every month, I sit in front of my computer and look at all the credits that have happened in the previous month. So let's say in the month of November, I look at all the credits that have happened in October, my salary and my wife's salary, basically. And I put them all together. And what I do is, I take 1%. Now I've increased it to 2, but for a start, I think 1% is fantastic. So let's say if you make $10,000 in a month, $10,000 comes into your account in the previous month. You take $100 out and put it into a separate account, separate savings account, make it a small savings account, and just call it to give. Just to give. So what you're doing is you're taking 1%, $100 out of $10,000, and putting it away in a savings account, which will grow, even in a very small way, but it'll grow. Now, over the course of 1 year, that's going to become $1,200, and that money is just to give. And I'll tell you what that is, what it creates in your subconscious mind. Who can give? The one who has can give. So, if you've got money just to give away, whether it's for donations, whether it's to just give anyone, to charity, to hospitals, to things like Movember and cancer research, and something that I did about 2 years ago, when you shave your head. So all that, for all these causes, you can actually just give without even thinking, because that money that's sitting in that account is something that you don't look at all. I mean, I must share this with you. I've got a few $1,000s in that account now, just to give. And what that creates within your subconscious is not just in your subconscious mind, but in the subconscious mind of everyone who's watching that act of you giving. And all that is energy. It just creates energy, and the understanding in everyone's mind about you being a giver because of the fact that you have so much. So that's 1%. Take 1% out just to give. What else? Take 20% out and again put it into another savings account, which again you don't have access to at all. You know, if you read that book, The Richest Man in Babylon, in that one he says, if you make $1, make sure you don't spend more than 70 cents. So in that book it talks about 70-30. But this is something that has worked for me for the past few years. So now I've increased to 2% and 20%. 2% to give, 20% to increase my savings. And the remainder, what you have, 80%, is for you to spend. It could be on everything, like mortgage, rent, your groceries, school fees, you know, basically everything. It's about being disciplined about money. Something else that I did was I started driving Uber. Now, as much as I would like to declare that this is not, I'm not doing it for the money, I'm doing it mainly for self-development and internal development, personal development. But money comes. And that again goes into an account which I don't even look at. Getting a part-time job, this is again something that I learned from Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is fantastic. If you listen to him, you can understand a lot about finance and how to manage this thing called finance. And from Jim Rohn, I learned about the importance of having a part-time job, about having a second job. What happens is when you have a second job, you do your first job with a lot of integrity, with a lot of fondness for your job. Because I know I can always go back to my other job and make that a full-time. And because your part-time job is not a full-time job, you do that again with a lot of intention, with a lot of purpose. And you enjoy that too. Even if it's a small job, a part-time job is fantastic. In my situation, it just happens to be my own business. Uber is like running your own business. And another one of Jim Rohn's quotes is, profits are better than wages, which is what I get when I drive Uber. Profits are better than wages. That's why running a business is definitely better than working for someone. Because you're an entrepreneur, you're a capitalist, and you give others jobs. So yeah, I've just covered a few things, a few points here about money and how important it is. Money is definitely an aspect of wealth which has to be developed. You know, when I was talking about Sage 2.0 in one of my previous videos, I was talking about how important it is to not reject this thing called money. Just because you're a sage doesn't mean you don't develop and grow this thing called money. And one thing I'd like to make it very clear, it's not just the way you think and the way you feel about money, it's your entire way of being. That is something that I would like to stress upon and reiterate again and again, that it's not just the way you think, oh no, from today onwards I'm going to think that I have enough, or think in abundance and all those things. But it's more important to actually be grounded, be humble, understand, and not have this arrogance of confidence. It is a very deep, grounded and humbling confidence, being humble and understanding entire aspect of money with curiosity and fearlessness, being courageous. So that's what I would like to leave you with. Thanks for watching again. Once again, thank you for watching my previous video on same-sex marriage. Until next time, all the best.